What's up, wealth builders? As y'all can see, I just got back from an awesome meetup hosted by my girl Jessica in the Delmarva Peninsula. It's Delaware, Maryland area. We actually had a phenomenal time there. And I want to apologize to you guys for the technical difficulties. I wasn't able to stream live as we anticipated, but I had to stop myself from just letting this information only be shared with the people that were in the room tonight. This is some very, very important information that I think everyone needs to be privy to, especially with the uncertain times that we are in. And creative finance is a tool that we can use to help a lot of people out of difficult situations that are experiencing job losses, financial hardship, emotional trauma from, probably having some financial difficulties during the holidays. So I know my wealth builders are most likely finally relaxing. It's the weekend and you've probably had a really long week, but I had to come on this live tonight on a Saturday to drop this information that I just shared with an amazing group of people. So, as I stated, most of us know someone right now that's going through something difficult financially, professionally, emotionally. We've all probably experienced having times where our problems were bigger than the monies in our bank accounts and just feeling really, really alone and in a dark place. Most families don't lose their homes because they're irresponsible. They lose them because no one showed up that knows creative financing options that could have helped them out of a difficult situation that traditional real estate just won't solve. Now, I really want to reiterate that creative finance is just a tool. It is not a one size fits all solution for any real estate situation. It's for a very specific case by case basis and for individuals that usually are going through some sort of difficulty. So, again, guys, this is not for everybody. Over one in every 694 US homes received a foreclosure filing this year. One in 694. I'm here in the DMV area. If you guys don't know, that's DC, Maryland, Virginia. The meetup that I just spoke at was in Denton, Maryland. In Maryland, the rate is far worse. One in every 374 homes received a foreclosure filing. This is the highest in the entire country for the state of Maryland. I bet most of us didn't know the numbers were that high. And these aren't just numbers, y'all. These are people with families, stories, memories that are on the brink of losing everything because of what's going on financially, emotionally, and so many other things, especially with all of the job losses we are seeing across the country at this time. Here's why creative financing is life-changing. When people hear the term creative finance, they think it's a very complex thing to wrap their mind around. It's actually a lifeline. That's how I want you guys to think about it when you hear the words creative finance. It's a way to help families avoid losing their home, a second chance when traditional selling won't work, a bridge between what a seller needs and what a buyer can actually do, a tool that preserves dignity and creates options. How many of us have been in a situation where the traditional way just won't work? And I'm not talking about when it just comes to real estate. There's so many things that we think outside of the box for, and that's needed because not everybody's situation is the same. And when we have different problems, we have to come up with new solutions. Creative finance not only changed my life, but it's changed the lives of a lot of the people that I've helped out of difficult situations. So let's talk about the four main tools we use to help people that we consider creative financing. The first one is subject to. That's when we have someone who has a mortgage that may be behind on payments, and we actually help them out of a difficult situation by keeping that mortgage in place in their name and then taking ownership of the property. So the loan is separate from the home, but now someone who may have been behind on payments, we've helped them catch up their payments. We're going to help them improve their credit. And instead of losing everything, we've put some money in their pocket and helped them move on without going through the foreclosure process that will hurt them long term and finding somewhere to live, damage their credit and put a ton of debt on their shoulders. So that's the first type of creative financing. The second type that you're going to hear about is seller financing. And that's when we make the seller, who may have a home that has no mortgage on it, meaning free and clear of a mortgage, we make them the bank by allowing them to decide the terms of how I will pay for that house by paying them. So seller financing is basically going through the seller directly to finance the purchase instead of going out to buy a new loan. Because this person has a ton of equity in their home, they can now decide the terms as to how you will pay them for it, especially so they can avoid capital gains. The third type of creative financing that you may hear a lot are novations. Novations are when we partner up with the homeowner that may need some repairs or some work that they can't do themselves. They may not be able to afford it, or they may not have the resources. We come in, make a deal with the seller, fix up the house on their behalf, and then we sell it. This is a win-win for both parties because you don't lose money to closing costs 2 times. Also, this seller probably is going to net way more on this house because now we've renovated it to market value and they don't have to take a loss for selling it as is. The fourth type of creative financing that you probably hear a lot are lease options. With lease options, that's when a person comes in and say, hey, I'm going to start with renting this house and I'm going to give you a down payment just for the right to, in 3 or 5 years, be the first person with the option to purchase this. Give me some time to work on my credit. Give me some time to qualify for the loan so that I have the right to buy this house in 3 to 5 years. And usually the benefit of a lease option is that that rate of rent stays the same for 3 or 5 years. So you don't have to worry about rent increases. And then you have first right to buy the home. So it gives you more of an ownership feeling. Now, guys, there are so many different types of creative financing. These are just the ones that you hear about most. You can get super creative and do things like wraps and hybrids and putting these strategies together to make a deal work. So that's just the basis. This is creative financing 101. So how can you, someone that may not be an agent or an investor, identify creative opportunities? Again, this is not a one size fits all. Creative is a tool in our toolbox as realtors and as investors. So you may have someone that's behind on payments in pre-foreclosure. That's usually a good candidate to see if you can help them. You also have tired landlords that are just burnt out, been in the business for a while, and ready to get out of the deal. But again, if they've owned the property for a long time, they may have a ton of equity and they're going to get hit with capital gains taxes. So usually a creative solution for someone like that creates a win-win situation. Then you have inherited property. A lot of people that inherit homes that need a lot of repairs, or inherit a home that's in a whole nother state from where they live. They already have their own mortgage payments. They already have their own life. Usually it becomes a hassle if they're not already a real estate investor to deal with an inherited home. Then you have low equity owners who cannot sell traditionally. Who are they? These are people who bought homes in 2021 when the market was absolutely insane and it was the seller's market. A lot of those people paid more than what the properties are worth now for those homes. So when you try to sell it traditionally on the market, you have to pay a real estate agent commission, usually, to get top dollar. You also are probably going to have some repairs, upgrades that you need to do. And then you have closing costs. So when that happens, you basically take a loss on that property. But if I come in with a creative solution, you may be able to walk away with money in your pocket. So that's how you usually can identify a good candidate for creative. There are other guidelines and stuff, but that's the basis. So how can you start finding deals today? You can identify people that you already know, like family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, and people that you see on social media that may be going through a difficult time. You can ask them one simple question. Are you planning to move soon, or do you know someone who needs to sell? You don't want to be intrusive and you don't want to pressure anyone into anything, but sometimes people don't say anything when they need help, even if they help a lot of other people. So Reach out and see if there's anything you can do, or even just lend a helping ear to someone that may be in need at this time. It's our duty to ask and to help, because so many people lose their homes to embarrassment. Over 37% of homeowners in pre-foreclosure never respond to a single letter or call. They freeze from being overwhelmed and simply lose their home. That is a really, really high percentage, guys. And we got to do something to change it. Okay. So here's how you can help without being an agent or an investor. You can connect that person with someone who can help them, someone that already has experience doing creative financing. You can share what you learned from this video with them and say, hey, there may be a solution for you. I don't know much about it. Do your own due diligence. Always do your due diligence, guys. Never take anyone's word. Go do your research. Just to know that there's another option is all I care about. It doesn't matter to our team and our community who you work with. We just care that you know that it's available. And if you do decide to take action on it, you're with the right person that works for you. That's what it's about, bringing awareness that there are options for people that are going through difficult times right now. We do creative things like taking a standard property and converting it to a co-living. So someone who maybe has no equity and the property doesn't work for a creative or subject to deal can then make money from their property in perpetuity without ever having to sell it, by renting it by the room or making their basement a separate rental to supplement maybe the job loss or something like that. We find solutions in difficult situations. We turn problems into opportunities. And it all starts with awareness. We had a family refer a friend that actually wasn't taking any calls or opening any mail. And she just couldn't trust anyone, and she was very fearful of what she should do next. We actually were able to help her out of foreclosure, and instead of losing everything, she walked away with $250,000 in equity, and she became our private lender. So not only was she facing the hardest time in her life, she took that hardship and turned it into something that could pay her dividends for many, many, many years to come. So out of every struggle that we have, we can always find an opportunity or a lesson learned that can help us in the future. So here's what I want you to do. Since you have this information, since you probably know a lot of people, write down 5 to 10 names who may need some help. Somebody that's been heavy on your heart, heavy on your mind. You know that they may be going through a situation. Reach out to them. Just say, hey, how are you? Anything I can help you with. It doesn't have to be about real estate, y'all. It may just be lending an ear. Again, it's about compassion. So reach out to anyone that you know may be going through something difficult that may not want to disclose it or may not want to bring it up, but might want to talk about it if you actually ask. Now, I'm going to go ahead and drop a creative capital blueprint in the description. So you guys have that. Basically, you can use it as a guide to help you find deals, help you identify different creative options, give you win-win scenarios, and just something tangible that you have that you can refer to if you ever come across someone that may need this information. This is for people who want real strategies, not theory. People who actually want to help families, people who want to build wealth without banks. A lot of people that we help out of these situations end up keeping their home. It's just having education. We have a huge community of private money lenders that help people and catch up their arrears all the time. So it's just about the who, not how. This is for people who want step-by-step clarity and people who want support navigating deals. We help so many people who just come to us and say, hey, I have a lead. Can you help this person? We actually helped one of our buddies, close family friend, went through extreme difficulties in different areas of his life at the same time. got really heavy into alcohol. And, that's not something that we even talked with him about. We just knew that we had to take some pressure off of him so that he could then come back to being himself. And we were able to get him through the loan modification process. And he is now on track to keep his home forever like he planned to begin with. So again, y'all, it's not always about selling or buying this house. It's about helping the person and doing what's best for them. I just had my last foreclosure transaction. It was really really difficult because it was a mother and two daughters, and they almost lost everything. It came down to the wire, trying to get in touch with the banks and the trustee to answer the phone. We literally were 2 days away from closing, and they would not give her an extension because she had gotten a loan modification before and she couldn't make any payments. So they were just like, give us 75,000 by the close of business, or we are going to auction your property. We don't care that you have a contract that closes in 2 days with no contingencies. The credit union couldn't close quicker. Everything was on the line. I then called up one of the people from our community to see if they could bring the private money to the situation to stop the auction. And everybody's emotions are high because we have a family and daughters that are literally about to have nowhere to live and have tremendous debt on their shoulders. And literally, we kept calling the banks. We kept calling, and the private lender said, I may be able to help you. And 30 minutes later, we got a response that they would extend the closing for us. Those are the kind of stories that I want to tell and that I want to share with you guys. We don't want people losing their homes. We don't always want to buy your home. We want to help you and let you know that there are options out there. So if you guys have any friends, family, coworkers, or anybody from social media that may need these solutions, we're happy to have the conversations and we're happy to help in any way that we can, especially with just providing information. So I hope that somebody sees this that needs to see it. And with that, peace.